Ide were were nitayoshu. Ide were were nitayai. Ochakin nipai nitayoshu. Shake, shake, shake. Nitayai. Ide were were. Ide were were
Welcome. Let's see. It's just me and you, Ivan. Feel free to unmute yourself if you want to join. I bet it's just me and you today, so maybe others will hop on later, but I was planning to go ahead and do a live so that if people want to join later or while we're on live, we can. Feel free to just...
Give me a moment here. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Hi.
Having some technical difficulties. Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
That's good. Thanks for joining the meet and greet.
Yeah.
You weren't at the last one, were you?
Um, Give me a moment here. I'm sorry.
Take your time.
Okay. Yeah, I might lose you because I'm gonna go back up to my apartment. I just had to walk my wife and my kid to the car so that way they can take off into their little journey that they're gonna go to.
Aw.
Yeah.
I see your picture here. You have a beautiful wife. How old's your baby?
He is now gonna be 6 months.
Nice. How's life with a newborn?
It's it's a lot of adjusting, just um one it's not picture perfect, right? So it's kind of like you have to adjust to everything entirely. Um but like I would say the first 2 weeks it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Like very, very draining and just, having to stay up at all hours of the night, and making sure that he's asleep, that his diapers are changed, and
Yeah.
you know but it's a beautiful experience. I can't say that it's awful. It's not awful. It's
Mm-mm.
amazing, as each day goes by. you know you're seeing, you know uh your son, or your child, just developing into this beautiful little being, and it's like it's organically just compelling. It's compelling you. It's like, you want to do more for him
Mm-hmm.
or her. And then seemingly enough, it's like, wow, I think I can get used to this. But you have your moments. It's not as easy as it seems. As I mentioned, nor is it horrible. It's just, there's a lot of adjusting that you have uh um to adjust to.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we go.
Hi. See your face now.
Hey there. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Um but it's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Definitely it's good. So tell me about this group. And I'm very intrigued because I actually thought about doing something like that, but it's just, once I got married, and I really didn't have that much time to organize a group like this,
Yeah.
like what you're doing. I think it's amazing.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
and and then once we had a kid, then it was like, forget it. Team no time. So, there's that. So, um, I've so it's mostly focused in LA County, right?
Yeah, so let me give you a little background. By the way, I'm 3 years into the parenthood journey. It just
Ah,
gets better and better and better. So I understand
ah,
the late nights, especially the first 2 weeks. I called that period of our lives. Lena is her name. We called it Lena's crazy funhouse time. Like it felt like it never ended. It was like this horror shop where you go into this Halloween roller coaster ride where everything starts popping out of you and you're like and you can't sleep because the baby's up at all hours of the night. So that was our
yeah,
funhouse time.
yeah,
So it evolves and it changes and it's wonderful, like you were saying, to witness a child growing, and that's your child. Like it's yours, and you get to
right,
see their personalities develop. You get to see their wants, their desires, their needs, and then you get to kind of just work with them and try to
yeah,
raise them the best way for you. You know?
yeah. You know what? Honestly, it's like right now I'm tired. I'm super tired. And it's not even anything of where I'm just like discomforted by being tired. I'm happy. Just to be able to be in this journey. Um, but I guess what the most important thing that keeps me sane is, yes, having having that love, that bond with both my wife and my child, but also doing sound healing does a lot of wonders for me. um and doing energy work as well for others as well, but mostly for myself, because when I do sound healing, it's not necessarily a thing where I feel like I'm doing it for everybody initially. It's also for me, um and that was the main focus, is doing this type of work for myself. And I guess I had to learn to understand that as time went on, and I realized, like, I have all these modalities. I'm not really using them much for myself. I'm just mainly using it for other people. And then once time passed through, I was like, okay, well, I don't think I necessarily need to, focus on trying to do this for everybody, but just for myself, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, but by any means, I mean, you know, a journey is a journey. You make it for what it is for you. Um, and that's pretty much it. But collectively, doing things together and then bonding with others, or just kind of having this, moment of where, like, hey, I'm also a sound healer too. I also have a kid, and I have all these other things going on in my life. My life is crazy, and you know, I have a 9 to 5 job, and that doesn't seemingly help to bring some sort of grounding for myself, because it's always fast paced.
Yeah.
And I'm just one just kind of just likes to just take time and take my time with things, and kind of like cultivate everything as much as possible. And then once the adjustment is done, then I'm just like, okay, go, 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 go. But there's like little to no room for that. I feel like with how things are now, and this time that we're living right now, everything is just like zooming right through us.
Mhm.
um Life, and just people coming and going in your life.
Mhm.
And it's crazy, and at times it can be very overwhelming, and like I have moments where I'm just like, I don't even know if I can keep up with this. This is just too crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like a moment where sometimes I have to kind of set boundaries on others, and just kind of like step back and just say, hey, let me kind of take a look to see what I'm doing here, first, and then I can approach to you and go about it in ways that it should.
Yeah.
Um, so but that's good that you that we have that interest, like as far as like having a child in our lives, and how dynamically it just changes everything in our lives. um you know Aside from like the finances and everything else, that's just, it is what it is. um like I'm coming to find out, like, every time I see a bill for from the hospital, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, well, whatever. um there's nothing I can do. um so or either that, or just like, having someone to take care of our child for just a moment, and then realizing, oh, it's more than what we expected. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that. You should have told me this before, but okay. Um, but yeah, it's part of what it is. And I think the other thing is just that it's just having this new little energy coming into your life, and you're just like, you're trying to keep up with it, but it's just like it's draining you so much.
Yeah.
And at times, for my wife especially, because she's going through postpartum right now,
Mm.
it could be very overwhelming for her. And at times it could be, it puts her in a place where it's just like, it could be lonely, it could be dark. you know and I for one have changed my perspective on women, particularly the way on how I look at my wife now. Like when I got married with her and everything, I was so happy. I married a beautiful woman inside and out.
Mm.
And, she was everything that I've wanted, and collectively, it was just something that I just knew right off the bat when I first met her, um, that, this is the woman that I wanted to be with. But I didn't know if she wanted to be with me. I was like, eh. So I kind of like brushed it away a little bit. So the story behind her and I, we both took a sound healing course, through a teacher in West Covina. And so I met her through that, but she was part of some sort of apprenticeship program, along with these other women that were there. So I was the only guy doing this course. But it was like, it wasn't nothing new to me because I've been around women for all my life, especially with my mom and my sisters. And then, my brother was kind of like absent, and my father was kind of absent too, doing their own thing. So, and then, moving forward and moving on, it was just all I knew was like, feminine energy, women energy, and just that. And then, the masculine energy didn't come until like later on. And then there was like this kind of like this, just like this duality between both. Is it, should it be focused on this, should it be more focused on that? So it was like kind of like undoing the craziness between the both, and battling on both.
Yeah.
Where, when you have both energies going at it with each other, it's like it's like war, basically. It was war.
Unbalanced.
So yeah, I was very unbalanced, and up in, in my teen years, it just got worse. And as I went through my 20s, it was just, it even got even more. And in my 30s, it was peaking. And then after that, I just calmed down. I was like, okay, I gotta chill out. So, but yeah, so my wife and I met through that. And then after, after the course, I mentioned like, yeah, we should all, just keep in touch with each other. And that was part of the group that we were in, that we were gonna keep up. I thought we were gonna keep up, but then, no one really did.
Life.
Yeah, like, it just happens. Like even with people that I meet at sound, through sound healing, yeah, let's meet up sometime. And then it's like, we never hear from them again. And it's okay. I've become I've become accustomed to it. Like I'm just like, we'll see what happens. Just kind of like just throw it into the universe and see what happens from there.
Yeah.
And then, through that, I mean, the first course we took, it was just for level 1, and then level 2 is where after that her and I kept in touch with each other. And then as time went on, we were dating, and then COVID happened. And so it was kind of like, it was interesting because we were both taking we were both doing a Kundalini yoga teacher training at the time too.
Nice.
So it was chaotic, and this is where we found out, or like the whole entire community just got shook by this whole Yogi Bhajan
Yes.
scandal. And I at one point was like, you know what, this is BS. I don't want to do this anymore, because if I'm doing this for this guy, then, you know, but I knew that the yoga itself, it worked.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that. And Yogi Bhajan had said, don't listen to me, listen to the teachings behind the yoga. Don't ever listen to me. I'm not God. You know, we're not gods. You know, we are all God informed, but we are not essentially gods amongst gods. And so I lost that teaching, and I lost that verbiage. And then, like, within 24 hours, my wife and I changed our minds. We're like, okay, we'll come back. You know, we're not going to quit, because we've already gone like 3 weeks ahead of this, and then all of a sudden, whoop, pandemic. You know, everything closed down, and so we're just our teachers were scrambling, trying to figure out some things, and then all of a sudden, like, some of the teachers, like the women teachers particularly, they quit. They stopped teaching yoga. They stopped teaching Kundalini yoga. They stopped teaching a lot of other things, and they just kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth. And the community was just shook bad, so bad.
They had to
And
go
there were
through
people.
I feel like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I
No,
was
no, no.
I was heavily a part of the Kundalini. I wasn't a practitioner, but I did lead a lot of the sadhanas. And
Oh yeah.
when that happened, I know a lot of people in the community were like really broken. Like it was like it was their lives, and it took a while like to get back. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I was
No, no,
bringing
no,
back
no. By
something.
all means, that's basically what happened. And I didn't, you know, honestly, I still practice Kundalini yoga. I still practice it. I do my breath of fires. I do my set kriyas. I do my kriyas every day, you know, almost every day, or I try to. As of late, not so much. But you
Poor
know,
baby.
yeah, now it's
Wait.
harder now.
Yeah.
It's really hard now. I'm trying so hard to do things, and I can't. Like yesterday, I was lucky enough to do my meditation, and that's one thing that I've devoted myself to do a lot, and that's what I got from Kundalini yoga, was meditating a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do my meditations in the morning, you know, every so often, you know, and then, you know, that just balance my days out, you know, balance everything out. It just put me in a higher perspective, in a higher vibration, you know. And you know, I'm lucky enough to even do the things that I do. Like I also teach yoga,
Yeah.
regular yoga, like hatha yoga, at some studio in where I live in Woodland Hills. So, you know, you know, I have a great following of students. You know, I have a great following of people. Um, it just seems like for quite some time, it was a bit of a struggle with trying to adapt to
Mm.
a different community out here, based on the type of yoga teachings that they like over here. It's more focused on like being athletic and physical, and not very much spiritual,
Yeah.
which was something I kind of struggled with for some time. And then after some time, like my students kind of, it grew onto them. Like they're realizing a lot of things that are changing around the world. Like, you know, we need this
Yeah.
more so than ever. Like I truly believe people need Kundalini yoga right now.
Yeah.
Especially with with the age that we live in right now, we're living in the age of Aquarius, and Yogi Bhajan, I mean, look, he's human.
Mm-hmm.
We're all human. We all make some crazy mistakes in our lives, and you know, do I follow him? No. Do I follow his teachings? Sure, because his teachings have some perspective to it. Makes one to think that there's a part of him that says, if we are to die one day, we are to die. We leave the earth. If for some reason, for some karmic effect that we do something in the lives that we live in right now, and then once we die, we can come back as cockroaches, and for the bad karma that we have done, for anything that we've done that was just so bad that it puts us in perspective. I mean, who knows? He might come back as a cockroach or some sort of insect that we don't know of, but maybe not. Who knows? He might come back as a tree. He might come back as a plant. He might come back as something that's of some sort of vibration, and his lesson has to be learned from that, and then he would have to adapt to everything that he has to adapt from. Like, I honestly believe that we have put ourselves into this, or we were chosen to come into this world that we live in right now. There's an actual purpose as to why we're living in the state that we're living in right now. And an interesting time, a very interesting time where things are just catapulting with so many changes and so many ideas are being changed, and people are actually being heard in some sort of way, and some people not so much, which it kind of integrates this whole idea and concept of where those many other questions, but it boils down to, like, what if what if this, what if that, what if this life that we live in is not truly something that is of a dimension of sorts? Like, are we in the right dimension? Are we in this 5D right now that people are saying and talking about right now? Possibly. It's your perspective, really, and that's why when people just don't really, they bubble themselves out from the outside world and just stay internally within, and just kind of being more aware of everything that's from within rather than without.
Yeah.
So, but the more you internalize that, the more externally it just comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that diagram of where there's like a human form of human being, like, standing in one place, and there's this big old round thing that rounds about it, and it kind of, like, there's like a vortex that goes up and then it comes out of above.
Yeah.
But that, I didn't really understand, and then once I got to understand, like, the whole concept of evolving and revolutionizing yourself in some sort of way, and going from within and going from without.
Yeah.
It kind of puts you in that perspective of where we're a product of our own environment. Like, we externalize everything from outside, and once we do that, then it just kind of puts us in a situation that it's like a magnetic field of people that comes into portraying them what they feel from how we feel. And so, if you're good, you're good, and you'll connect with the good. If you're bad, you're bad, and then you're going to connect with all these other bad beings, and that's just the way it is. Can that ever change? I mean, it's up to you. People have a choice. We can go into biblical terms here where people are saying, like, well, why isn't God telling us this? Why isn't God doing it? God is giving us a choice. You have a choice to make here. Either what you're going to do and say, as I'm saying and talking here, like, I'm making my choice. Like, I'm going to stand where I need to stand. And that's just to make sure things are right for myself, and then and for my family as well. So, and that's just primarily my obvious focus. As for everyone else, everybody has a choice, we are all teachers, but I think we're all teachers. We're all teachers of ourselves too. We're all
Yeah.
gurus of some sort. But I think if you're going to call yourself a guru, I don't think you need to guru for others. I think you just need a guru for yourself, and that's it.
Yeah, there's so
So
much power in just working on the self, because exactly what you said, when we do those inner changes for ourselves and we address the things in our selves that might be holding us back or making us doubt ourselves, even that, and we get to work
yeah,
on the inside, we start being what's on the inside. Like, we're already being what's on the outside. Like, we're already who we are. But if we start changing
yeah,
things, we get to become the people that we want, the person that we want to be, the person that we achieve to be, the person that we are, without any hard effort. Like, I feel like if it's challenging, like so challenging where it's like you're fighting against yourself, it's like, you know what? Let me just let this go and let me be me. Let me just be
yeah.
without any focus on what other people think about me,
Right.
feel about me. And I think that's what's changed for me recently, because I used to be so focused on the exterior, like what I look like, what I seem like to people, so much so that I didn't know who I was because I was people pleasing and being who
Yeah.
people want me to be. And so when I started letting that go, it was like all this stuff came in that I wanted to do for myself, and one of those is collaborating with other people in sound healing. Um,
Yeah.
I was I'm I've always been a devotional singer. Like, one of my paths was walking the Kundalini path,
Mhm.
and I wanted to be a practitioner, but I thought the cost was a little too much for me, so I
Well,
decided
it's a little steep.
it's
Yeah,
a
it's
it's a
it's
bit
steep.
steep. And I've
Yeah.
always been the person is like, why not make this accessible to the people who actually need it? But that's a whole nother
Right.
thing. So I educated myself and got tons of books, got tons of advice from those who are actually practitioners, just so that I can have my own practice. And I really started diving into the chants and the mantras, like especially the Aquarian sadhanas for the morning. Like,
Mm.
those are my favorite. 4 o'clock in the
The
morning.
japji,
The what is it?
the japji, the
Not so much.
16
I never
16
liked
minute long.
Japji. I always walk in
It's
there like, uh.
it's 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 beautiful, but I cannot keep up with saying some of
No.
the Gurumukh phrases and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been going to sadhanas, or I had been going to sadhanas for over 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and never once been able to say I can actually say this, and I can't. There's people that go there like that have been doing it for about a year, and they caught on quick, and it's like, oh great, I can't do that, and that's
Have you ever
okay.
gone? Have you ever gone to the Yoga of the West before they changed it to Kundalini
I
West?
have gone to the Yoga of the West, and now
I
they call it, what do they call it now?
Kundalini West.
Kundalini West.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it was
Yeah,
last time I checked in. So
yeah. They closed it down for some time, and then they reopened it up, which is very interesting because the actual owner had said that he was done after the whole Yogi Bhajan situation. He kind of disconnected himself, or he or she disconnected himself from the whole community. And I think people are kind of devastated in that area, within that vicinity area, because they love that place.
yeah, it
Um,
was a beautiful
see,
place. That was my first experience with the mantras and the chants, the specific ones for like sadhana. And I guess,
yeah,
you ever hear of Jai Jagdish? Like,
Jai Jagdish, yes.
oh my God, she's like my ultimate favorite. She's my absolute favorite singer and everything. And so when I went to go see her, it was like it felt like I found home, because I never knew,
Mhm.
like, the songs grabbed me to Kundalini Yoga. I didn't know anything about it. I just knew I
Oh,
liked the music, and I was like, I started researching, like, what is this music? Where does it come from? Like, what are these chants? They're like changing my life by just driving in the car singing them. And then
mm,
it led me to Kundalini Yoga, and then I didn't know anything about Kundalini Yoga. I'm in there like, what the hell is this? Just trying
yeah,
to get
yeah,
through it, and I finally got
yep,
through it, and then I understood. I understood after that, and I was pretty much in Kundalini yoga for the singing, like mainly the chants, because I loved it. But the different kriyas, they help like just move energy, get you to breathe, and it's really really beautiful. I love that practice and all this stuff that happened with Yogi Bhajan. I think I have the same view as you, where it's like we're all human. Like shit happened. We do stupid shit sometimes, and not to say
Yeah.
what he did was okay, but the fact
Yes.
that we shouldn't let go of the teachings just because of what he did as a human. Like if everybody had a camera on them at all times, I'm pretty sure there's some fucked up shit we did that we wouldn't want anybody to see or know about,
Yeah.
or and if somebody did, it's like, oh shit, no, I mean, that's gonna be marked your whole entire life, and it was just one mistake. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a belief where it's like, yeah, you fucked up, but it's okay. Let's try not to fuck up anymore. And you might fuck up.
Yeah.
You'll experience this through childhood. I mean, through parenthood. It's like it's
Yeah.
never ending. And we have Josue here. He's also a dad. I think he has a 6-year-old. Is that right? Hopefully he can hear us. Let me see. Hey, we can't hear you.
He's
You're
on.
muted.
He's on mute.
You are
That's right.
mute.
That's right.
There you are.
So yeah, so I have a daughter. She's 6. Jumped in late for having me. I'm at work, so it's gonna be kind of in and out.
All good,
Um,
man.
yeah, I just wanted to jump on and let my face be seen, see who's here, meet people that are into the same things that I'm into, and
Awesome.
yeah, I'm not too sure what the context of y'all's conversation is.
Uh,
But what I did over here was I don't know, something that came up when I heard you about making mistakes, and then that one mistake's gonna mark the rest of your life. And it's kind of like leading into that cancel culture type of, like,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know, the haze. And yeah, everyone has their different beliefs, their different practices. I'm not sure what whoever you were talking about did. But I can relate. I've done fucked up shit in my life, and yeah, I use kind of very real language that I grew up around, integrated my darker shadow side into my light, and yeah, sharing unapologetically the truth that I believe. I guess I'm just kind of going on a tangent, a rant about who I am and
All
driving at the
good,
same
man.
time. So go ahead. Yeah, not sure what y'all are talking about.
this is just the meet and greet. We're just talking, having a little conversation. But no, thank you for being here. I know I forgot you said you worked on Saturday mornings, which is hard for you to come to the sound baths. So I'm hoping we could start fluctuating the days. You were at our Josue was at our first collaborative sound bath last month, and it was a really great experience being with what we had 7 other sound healers all together. Like we had 8 total. So it was a lot, and it was beautiful. And yeah, I think you brought your friend Travis, which is really cool. And just being there with other sound healers was like, whoa, this is actually happening. It was really nice. So can't wait to see you at the next one. And then is it Ivan or Yvonne?
It's Ivan. I also like to go by my spiritual name, which is Anand Karta Singh.
Got it.
But you can call me Anand for short.
Sure. Yeah.
So and the whole meaning behind the whole name, we can get to that in a later context. But yeah. So I like to collaborate as much as possible. I've tried building a community like that around here, but it's hard because it's generally like a lot of the sound healers around here, they're mainly focused on trying to kind of market. They're marketing themselves more so on a financial or on a marketing aspect, which is fine for me, and I've actually spoken with maybe a few that were very easygoing, but it's hard. It's just really, really hard around where I live. It's just mainly focused on I feel, and this is just my personal opinion, your looks, how you look, um, I think it's kind of destroying the actual idea of what you're actually doing for the community and for people and for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and the whole spiritual community now, it's kind of strange in some ways. You can actually see as far as like who people are, like you just talked about right now, Tia, was saying that it took you a while to make yourself to understand that it's not about looks, it's not about anything, it's about like you collectively pouring your heart into everything.
Yeah.
You're internalizing everything. There's just like I said, you're internalizing everything and you bring it out to external. It's like it's like this whole bigger picture, rather than some picture of where, oh, he looks great, he looks like he can heal people. I mean, you can look like a regular Joe Schmo. Like, I've seen people that say, yeah, I'm a Reiki healer. Doesn't look like a Reiki healer, doesn't look like a healer, but you can also feel the energy that's there.
Yeah.
If you are an energetic person, if you feel that energy, or empathetic, as they say. But, I feel like we're all healers in all reality, but it's just depending on how you're using your healing and what it's for and what are the intentions. And I think for most, not for most, but for some, it just may not be something that I consider as being something genuine or whole. But I'm not in a place of where I can judge and misjudge people, and I'm not anybody really. I'm just going by with what I feel and what I kind of see, and that's all. But hey, whatever works. Whatever works, whatever makes you happy. That's all that matters. And I'm all for it. But I love doing what I do. I love my work. I love doing everything that I can do. It also brings this whole atmosphere inside of my house place, where I can share that with my son, with my wife, and them being able to be like in a very, in a deeper state or a higher vibration. Because my son he's very unique. I think he reads people very well. Um,
Babies tend to
he
do that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And with my side of the family, my side of the family, it's kind of wonky. Like, my family members are you know they're all over the place. um and it's hard to convey, to talk or discuss anything as far as like what they can and can't do. And on top of that, they're very religious. The Christianity kind of roams into the whole perspective of things. And mainly my father, my mother, my brother, and one of my sisters. And then the other sister is just kind of like, she's kind of segregated herself, away from the family, really. I myself keep myself involved as much as I can, only because my mom is, she had a stroke last year, and we've been kind of like just making sure that she's okay. So I've been kind of, involving myself with that. But also, I just try not to get too much involved, because I feel like with her energy, it's heavy. Like, if you were to ever meet my family, you'd be like, oh my gosh, it's just super duper heavy. It's so heavy. It's just too much trauma, too much of a lot of things. And it's just, it's not easy. It's not easy for one to collectively just be there all in one. You really would want to drift away from them as much as possible. But all in all, it's good. It's all good, though. It's all good, and all that I do for everything that I do is, for, especially for them, is for love, and that's it.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Of
but
I feel
but
like you get to be the ones who get to heal that generational stuff
yes,
so that we get
that's
to
what I've been
change it a
work.
bit.
That's one of the things that I had been working on, because no one does what I do in my family. My nieces and nephews are starting to catch on to it. They're starting to understand like energy and all this stuff. So they're just like, wow, okay, well, I never knew that. And it's like, you don't have to really know about it. It's just, it's there. They taught energy is everywhere.
Yeah.
Energy is everywhere. So everything is energy, from emotions to even a thought, is an energy, it's already been manifested right there. As soon as you think about something, it's like, oh, poop, that's what's going to happen. So here you go.
Yeah.
But I just see that times are changing at this point, and I think the world needs us definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think people need themselves too, if
Mm.
that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I feel like that's one of the other reasons that I wanted to create this collab, this collective, was so that those who don't really know how much power they have in themselves, how much they can access this, because just going to an event, like even if it's just sitting down listening to sound, can really like bring out another piece of you. And it's like, oh, I didn't know this existed in me. I wonder what that's like. I wonder how I can get into this more and do this for my community, and so on and so forth, and teach other
Yeah,
people. And so part
yeah,
of that, this is why for me it's collaborative, it's community based, it's donation based. If you want to donate, it's just to awaken something that might be sleeping in whoever it might be who attends. And that's the main goal. And I want the medicine house to be somewhere somebody can go and say, hey, I'm interested in this, can you help me? Hell yeah, this is all the healers who have experience, who have been doing this for a while, who can get you, what you need. Ask any questions. A lot of the questions I had ready for today's meet and greet, just to talk, were about like, how do you set your prices? Where do you get your bowls from? How did you get into this? How do you get contracts? Because a lot of people I've heard have contracts with different studios or with different facilities where they're consistently doing work. And it's like, how do you get into that? Because, we definitely want to be able to survive in this society and
hmm
have a balance with that. It's like, how do we get this, what we're doing, to be, our one livelihood, because we need it. And I don't know about you, but sound healing for me, it's like, even just singing is it takes so much emotions that I'm going through to just be able to release it through song or through music or however, dance, whatever it is. That it's like, okay, this is healing. We're starting to be in hospitals. Like, there's sound healers who are doing hospital stuff. There's sound healers who are um, there was this guy who, I forgot his name, Salvatore. He introduced us to this group of people who are looking for sound healers who can give sound bath to kids who have attempted to unalive themselves. And so it's like, it's real medicine for people like in hospitals. And it's like, how do we get to put that into a container where we're all protected and we're all like able to hold the space for others and get a good exchange for that? It's like, it's just like all other modalities. Like, how do we not so much monetize on it, but just make sure we're all okay and taken care of, so that we're not depleting ourselves, so that we're not, overextending ourselves, so that we don't have to do this alone. It's like, I see so many sound healers out there, doing it, and they're doing it good, which is great. But I feel like, how much better would it be serving to those people who are attending those, to have different healers, just in case it touches them differently, where they don't have to go searching again for another healer, or be stuck with a healer they don't feel like resonates with them. But just playing with the different, like, thank you, this was great, can I get more information on you, because I really liked being with you? Yeah, you can get more information with me. We're actually going to do another collaboration, maybe you can meet other healers over there. Just having that wide array of healers and people that resonate with other people, that you can find your tribe, you can find whatever it is that, brings you heart healing. And that's been a mission I've been working on for many years, just collaborating with other healers in general. I used to work as a psychic medium. I used to work as a energy healer in sorts. And one of the things I wanted to do was link everybody together because there were clients I could not do anything for. And it's like, I want to send you somewhere because I know what you need, but I can't provide it. How do I
Right.
get them to go to somebody else? Because I don't want to leave them in the dark. It's like, do I know anybody? Like, who can I connect you with? And it'd be easier if there was a nice little collective of people to be like, hey, does anybody do this? So and so's looking for this. Yes, I do. Send them my information. Great. And so I don't know if either one of you have reached out to the person who was looking for the sound healers for the kids, but they're still looking. He reached out to me yesterday asking if I filled out the paperwork. But if either of you are interested in doing that kind of work, I think they pay $70 a session, and then however many sessions you can do, they'll
What?
yeah, yeah.
Tia, that's, you know what? Like, I chimed in, I think, at a beautiful time. And just listening to you and your commitment to connecting people together reminds me of mycelium, and like just like the networks of connection that we could feed each other, the knowledge and the wisdom and share communally. And then also I was like listening to like the whole commodification, like capitalist commodity
Mm,
as a spiritual healer. Like that seems encrypted in ways. And then also there's more like the what resonates with my heart, which is like giving back to community, which is gifting. It's like a gifting economy. And that's very, very near and dear to me in my commitment to giving back to community. And in this same like conversation, like parallel to this is like the real grounding into the earth and how are we going to be able to sustain ourselves to show up for community in ways. And so there is kind of like a fine line. And what I've done, because you were talking about like residencies and contracts, is I've actually been able to get paid to do sound baths without seeking it, and people contacting me, remembering that I do a sound bath, and then they want to pay me. And I'm actually doing one tomorrow. That this was like the second time that this person contacted me that met me through another person, and they liked my sound healing, and they were like, "Hey, I want to do this with you." And so it's kind of like exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And then now it's so I met another group that remembered that I do sound baths, and then they contacted me, which is really amazing because they're Mexica danzantes. And what I always wanted to do when I had my first sound experience was like, I want to bring this to my community and give back to my people and like people that I relate with. And so it's almost like a play for play, like what you're saying. And now, so they contacted me, and I was able to do this for these danzantes for the summer solstice. And so they happened to open up a community space in my neighborhood down the street, and they're allowing me once a month sound healing, like a residency essentially at this space. And they did offer to pay me, and I'm also like, I'm okay with just giving this back to community, and we could ask for donation with no one ever being turned away for lacking funds. And like it's just creating connections and giving back to community, and doing something that's very like, resonant with who I am as a person. And vibrational healing is amazing because it's really amplified my life when I started to like accept the essence of who I am interwoven with the fabrics and intricacies of the natural laws, and so vibrations coming out of a speaker move my body in a different way. And then now I can transmit this through other vibrational modalities that give back and resonate and permeate into environments and communities in a way that brings healing and relief and connection and experience. And I'm almost like also tapping into mysticism too, because of a feeling that feels like familiar, yet we experience it certainly when we have sound healings or sound baths, you know, if we allow ourselves as a people. So it's like really cool. Like when you reached out to, I was like, yo, you were like, you want to be a part of these sound healers? Like I don't think you even ever heard me do that, but you heard through word of mouth, and that was really cool. Cause now I feel like I'm a part of something that's bigger, and I want to like feed it with love, you know? And it's like this big communal kitchen, and we all get to eat. And I think that's all I
Yes.
wanted to say. So yeah,
Yes.
Bravo. Bravo. Bravo.
Oh man, congratulations,
Yeah,
by the
man, that's
way.
awesome. That's awesome. Um, I mean, I don't have a contract necessarily, but I have um 3 spaces that I'm doing work for right now. One, the yoga studio that I teach at in Woodland Hills. Um, that place is, and they pay me. They pay me. I think I forgot what their contract was, or their verbal agreement was, but it's not very much, but it's something, and that's okay with me. But on top of that, I teach there too. I teach yoga there. And then there's another space called the Awareness Center, which used, well, it's still considered a Kundalini yoga place, and it's
My
a
favorite
place where,
studio ever.
yeah, it's a space that I loved from the very beginning that I started doing Kundalini yoga. And this is prior to me even purchasing any bowls, anything. And I promised myself one day, when I have my bowls, I'm going to start doing sound baths there. Sure enough, when I got my bowls and everything else after the pandemic, I started doing sound baths there. They agreed for me to do it. But they mentioned to me that the events that they happen to have there, are very low, very low. And I was like, well, that's okay. We can try to see what happens. Sure enough, I think the first one was about maybe like 8 people showed up. Second time around, I think another group of 8 people showed up. And then third time around, it was still like 8. It was averaging to 8. And then all of a sudden it built up to like 16, 17, 18 people. And it was just like, whoa, it was crazy. But then now it's kind of slowed down because they have a lot more events going on there, which is perfectly fine with me. I'm okay with that. I do as much as I can, but sometimes to a degree, because of your drive, having to lift your equipment, no one's helping you really. I don't have as much help as I can, and I have a 20-inch bowl along with some other big bowls that I have that are pretty heavy. And so with very little help, I have to make sure that, that I'm being compensated in some way. I didn't want to look at it that way. For a while, I was just like, I don't care. I'll just do it because I love to do it, and I still love to do it. But I feel like with us healers, we have to compensate ourselves, and not cut ourselves short, because there's been many a times where I've done things for free and was expected to do things for free. And then after a while, I was just like, I can't do this anymore, because grabbing my bowls, setting my stuff up, getting everything all prepared and ready to go for you guys, it's just way too much for me. And then getting nothing out of it, it was just like, it was a big turnoff for me. Then after that, I was just like, no, I can't do that anymore. I have to start charging people. I have to start charging people, and that was it. So I started doing private events. And so these private events, normally I charge about $500 per, per event. And at times you give them the price and then, explain to them, why am I doing this? You have to explain. You got to give them a big picture here. It's gas costs. It's me getting my stuff out of my car, and I have no help, by the way. If I had help, I would charge maybe, probably less, but it also depends on how far I'm driving. So if I'm driving, and gas nowadays is not, not nickels and dimes. It's basically half your paycheck. Nowadays it's half your paycheck, almost, to a degree, or maybe a third, or maybe a quarter of that. I don't know. It depends on how much you're driving, but essentially, it just depends on a lot of things, and as a business aspect, coming to a place of where, and I'm not very business savvy. I suck at business. Like I have to have my wife to tell me to discuss things as far as like how money works and everything else. And for me, whenever I have money at the time, but this is before I got married, I didn't really respect money. So money was just like, a thing, and I felt like you could just give it out and just be done with, and you'll get paid the next time around anyway. I had a long history of just not being very responsible with my increments of money. But anyway, I'm going off tangents here, and I'm sorry. But anyway, focus here is basically when it comes time, you've been doing this for a while, especially if you're doing energy healing or sound healing and everything else. You got to look at, as far as like getting compensated, as the new demands are a little bit higher, your demands are going to be higher too. So you may have to ask people, okay, well, at some point you're going to have to pay me a little bit more, So, but with that being said, going back with, teaching at these places, I also teach at another place called the Valley Salt Cave. So it's this place is awesome. It's basically inside of a Himalayan salt cave room. I think there's like 3 tons of Himalayan salt. So there's brick layers of Himalayan salt laid out onto the walls, and then there's like little pieces of chunks of Himalayan salt on the ground. So it's like gravel, basically. You're walking on gravel. And then they shoot out a Himalayan salt in the air in like microfobial forms. They shoot it up into the air. This thing, it helps you with tons of things like inflammation. It's a mood enhancer. It helps you, like, if you're recovering from any COVID long-term effects or any type of respiratory issue that you have. It gives you good sleep. It gives you all the benefits, like as far as like what almost sound healing does. And you get a double whammy of that. It's like once you walk out of there, I remember my first experience, I did not want to leave the cave. I wanted to sleep, just like there forever. But I remember my first experience, I was like, God, I love this. I would love to do a sound bath there. So I gave the owner of my business card, thinking, okay, he's probably never going to get in touch with me. And sure enough, he calls me, I think 3 days later, and asked me if I wanted to do a sound bath there and see how it works out. And sure enough, I did. And it was a success. We sold out the first slot, and then he opened up a second slot, and they pay like half of what they earn to me, and then, or they pay half of what they earn to me, and then then be done with. So it can be very successful. Sound healing can be very successful in that aspect, but also too, if you're going to do it as a full-time thing, I think if you're going to do it as a full-time thing, that you would also have to look into maybe doing like workshops, either that or getting people certified and doing your own like certification to become sound healers. So, but but collaborations I've done a few times as well, and it's been very successful. And I'm up for collaborations. I don't care about the cost or anything like that. If anybody wants to do any collaborations with me, we can work up a place, maybe do it at a park. Maybe we can do something at a park. I know of a house that we can go to that actually it's a beautiful house in Tarzana that we can go to, and it's freaking amazing. It's an amazing house. So if that's up to your guys' subpart, we can discuss about it, and I can talk to the owner of the house.
Would love that.
Yeah, let's collab.
Right? That would be so
I'm
great.
I'm up for it.
Yeah.
I was thinking, if it's okay, we could talk more about that, because we've been looking for, like, every season, I want to hold a space just for the sound healers, where we're all coming together and we're just giving each other healing, whatever that looks like. Like, we can have food, we can have music. Somebody can be giving sound bath, and then they'll switch out to somebody else giving, so that everybody feels really good and everybody gets to meet each other and maybe talk a little bit about their methods and how they set up. We kind of did that at the first collaboration, where we just went around sharing like what our setup looks like, how we feel about it. And maybe for the seasonal gatherings where it's just us, we can just discuss those even more. Like, I've been looking for a place where we can all come together and be comfortable, and not just completely outside, just somewhere that can hold us. And maybe we can talk more about that place in Tarzana if you're comfortable with that. I think that
we can definitely do it there. We can also definitely do it at the Awareness Center, because the Awareness Center is open for anything. And
I love
I have
the Awareness Center. I used
and
to.
I have good connections there that will allow me, if I wanted to rent the space out, and it's not very much.
That would be great. I used to work and volunteer a lot at the Awareness Center a couple years ago, especially after COVID when nobody was going. So I had all these things I was doing. I put together the Coming Home Festival. I don't know if you heard about it. It was
yes. Okay. Yeah.
So that was fun, and that's where we had the sound. We had a sound bath at the end of it, which was really nice. Everybody really enjoyed it, but it was an all-day kind of thing. But I love it. The Awareness Center is my home spot.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful spot. It's very roomy. It's open for any type of events that if we plan. So why don't we do this? For the home, it's kind of like I can talk to the owner of the house. It's a beautiful house. We can do it there. But collectively, if we're going to do something as a kickoff, maybe we should start off at the Awareness Center. Okay. And then we can work there to see as far as like how much we can pull, and maybe I can pull my wife to do something if she's okay to do it.
That would be great. I feel like personally, we're trying. I don't know if I've conveyed this to either one of you, but we're trying to turn this into a nonprofit so that we can, get people who believe in this movement to, donate some funds that they can then tax donations for them, but also to get us like into places where we could heal ourselves, but also continuously hold community sound baths where we're still exchanging for what we need in our services, and having those funds that we receive get back into the community, and so on and so forth. And so if it is the house, I feel like the house would be great, because I don't know, does he charge anything? Because that might be that's fun.
Something I would need to talk to her about. I can talk to her and find out, and then I can find out for sure. But she's been busy as of late. She hasn't had any events, but the last event that I did there was I did a restorative yoga. Nice. For a group of ladies there, and she had some sort of like other things that she had planned. She was going to play her sound bowls and a bunch of other things. She's also a sound healer too, so she may want to jump in on this too.
Yeah.
So
that would be great. If we could, let's have a would you be okay just having a conversation about it a little later, when just scheduling some time so that we can talk about what that might look like.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
that would be really great. And yeah, that would be really great if we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of that. See, this is why I like the collective because everybody has different, things that it's like, yeah, let's do it here. Yeah, let's do it there. I have access to this, which is super awesome. So, yeah, thank you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So you can do that.
But yeah, so we're starting a nonprofit just to put the news out there.
Okay.
Medicine House and Sound Healer.
That's cool. Do you know what kind of nonprofit you want to start?
Yeah, it's the 503c, 5013c, 50. It's the church one where we're a church, so that we could practice and give, whatever we need. So yeah, we'll be under the church formation, and yeah, right now I'm looking for board members, anybody who's interested in helping bring that to life. I have somebody I'm working with to actually get the legal aspects of it together. So that's another wing that we're working on with the Sound Healer Collective. So yeah,
501c3.
501c3. That's what it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
we'll
had
see
to Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm you know what? I'll ask my wife if she wants to get in on this as well.
Yes.
So
I think
she's
I
really
met your wife, to be honest. What's her name?
Janelle.
Okay, maybe not. Sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It was like I feel like I'm totally about to search you real quick because I've when I first saw you in the advertisement, I think it was the Awareness Center was advertising for it. I was like, oh look, a Kundalini sound healer. I need that. Like I love Kundalini yoga, and I've been doing mantras. Like I used to hold mantra singing circles there, where we just
Oh,
focus on the mantras and just sing them and send prayers out. And so it's been really like I have songs that I'm making for the sadhanas. Like I want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do live music for sadhanas. Like that's one of my dream goals
shoot.
to do that. So
Once my kid is old enough, we can talk about doing that.
that would be awesome.
Because I want to get back into doing sadhanas again at some point. And maybe we could just do a virtual one rather than just going live at a place.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind going live. But the thing of it is, it's my drive. I live probably further away from you guys.
No, you actually live up the street from me. I'm in Van Nuys. So you're not too
Oh,
far. Yeah, we're over. I'm
okay.
over here, but everybody is spread out. But yeah, we're pretty close.
Okay. Okay. We're in the valley. Woot
I think
woot.
Josue is in East LA, somewhere over there. Is that right?
Yeah, Northeast LA, Cypress Park, and it's
Nice.
not that far.
Yeah.
By nice.
No, it's not
Maybe
that
like
far.
20
East LA
minutes.
is not that
Yeah.
far. It's literally like maybe 30, 40 minutes away, maybe less than that.
Yeah.
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 You were talking about like creating certifications. Like I'm always kind of weary about that, like a 2-week course and now you're a shaman, or like things like that, like kind of.
I
So I
honestly,
don't know if you could elaborate on that. I'd be interested to learn more.
well, I mean, this is kind of the course of things that I have learned from other healers and teachers and everybody else, because I too have been very hesitant, and I'm actually very hesitant on doing anything like that myself, because it goes into further context of discussing as far as like the meaning being behind vibration and what are the contexts of giving healing, the intentions and everything else. And then you got to pass out booklets to everybody and handouts and basically just go through this course of thing of where you have to plan everything out strategically and how long of a day that you're going to have on going through each subject. And it's not as easy as just saying, hey, I'm going to do a certification class and just join us. Like I can give you an example of a um, great method of like how a course can be ran, or in my eyes and what I've seen from other teachers, um, like from the collected, like you wanna start off with like the basics of everything from the very beginning, going from that, and then having people to play like a bowl, and then after that having them play, with several bowls, but it's a buildup, right? It just goes from one day after the other. So a 3 day for certification one would be better, or maybe 2 days. And then the next would be like maybe 3.5 days, 3.5 days. And then the next one, if you wanted to have them to become certified teachers of where they're level three, is where you would enhance it to up to about maybe 4 or 5 days, and then certify them. And then they can become, um, you know, certified teachers, where they can certify you to become, sound healers. But Josue, it's not. I for one, am not. I don't know the specifics. I only know from what I've gathered from other people, and that's pretty much where I've learned. But in an aspect of where you want to build your own business, when you are a sound healer, it can't always be about doing sound baths every day. You're gonna burn yourself out. It's just you're gonna get so tired, and then at some point you're gonna hate doing what you're doing, and that you don't want to do that. And giving that
Yeah,
intention out to
like
people, it's
wearing a
just
title
bad.
and like, oh, I'm a sound healer. Like I don't like to really, I don't personally, I don't really like to call myself that. I like to just give back to my
Practitioner.
community in ways that have
Yeah.
helped me heal. And yeah, it just so happens to be called sound bath.
Yeah.
And
I call myself a practitioner. That's it. I don't ever tell myself that I'm a healer. No, I'm a
mhm,
practitioner.
mhm.
Because it rubs people the wrong way, right?
Yeah, and then I
Um
think that also kind of like that's also why I wonder about it. You know, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm like kind of a deep like I'm there, right? I want
yes.
to touch the realms. And then so I wonder about like who gives someone the right to certify someone else? Like how did they earn that merit? Like is there traditions that they practice? Like, you know, what about the traditions of sound healing and the histories of it is incorporated into classes and courses, right?
Well,
And like
it's your
like
history.
and is it all about intention and feeling good? Like I mean, these are kind of things that come up often in the spiritual community, especially in Los Angeles, where it's like
Yeah.
everyone really wants to make it and do what they love and get paid for it. And that's understandable in ways,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
also, it can be intoxicating sometimes and can push people into points or like uh, spaces of manipulation where, you know, yeah, it's like kind of things like that that I wonder about, that I've experienced myself within myself and within community many times. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm there with you. The teacher that got me certified, I didn't like how she went about teaching the courses. I didn't like it. I felt like it was rushed. I felt like there was no conclusion to anything, and she gave us manuals, and she didn't even go through anything on the manuals. It was just like, based upon what she wanted to let us know and hurry us up. And then we played the instruments, which is great. It was a great experience. We had people lay down on the floor and we sang to them as they were, which was a great experience. It was an amazing experience. But on top of that, we didn't get to know the specifics, the ideals, the concept behind sound healing. We didn't get that. I had to learn that from my other teacher, from my yoga teacher. So, and that's where I was like, okay, she didn't really teach us that. And so then she's like, oh wow, that's not good.
And you
Because
know, and like touching on that, us as a collective of practitioners, like how can we, you know, have that integrity moving forward, understanding that I wonder how many within this collective have had a similar experience that you had, you know, where it's just kind of like off of a manual, like it might be something that's general or maybe just a one-off experience. So that would, you know, like understanding, because if we want to start things at the core, we have to understand where these practices in the past have wronged the people, and we could maybe have a knowledge and awareness about it that we can have a more conscious foot forward. And yeah, I think that's really my what how I feel as a collective. We can have something that's very holistic in that, and like very conscious in that too. You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're a scholar, it's not because you're a scholar because you felt like you wanted to be a scholar. You're a scholar because maybe you were with a group of scholars and you idealistically gathered ideas together. You collectively were there as a community and saying, yes, this is that, this is how this works. Okay, so we got the concept all together. Let's go ahead and expand our knowledge out to others so that way they can become scholars as well. I think that has to come into a place of intention as well. Like your intention, what is your intention? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you want to get a quick cash, get a quick cash out and be done with? Like I felt like that's what my teacher did. She was a quick cash out. Like I'm here to collect cash and that's it. I mean, we heard
I
it.
have I have had a friend say, "Oh, I want to tap into that market," as like, yo, like a friend
Yeah.
said that, and I just kind of was like, whoa, like
Sound healing is sacred. Healing itself is a sacred thing. It is not something you just tap into and say, I have this power, so I'm going to use it. There's a sense of where you use things and you use it to a degree of where you're using it out of your greed. When you're using your greed, karma is going to be the benefactor behind all this because there's good karma, there's bad karma. If you're setting off good karma, you're building that flow of abundance. You're going to have all these people that want to learn your methods, your everything, and humbling yourself in a way of where I can show you a few things here and there, but outside of that, you'd have, if you want to get certified or anything like that, you'd have to go to an actual teacher or certified teacher to do that. Like I've seen people go into this and with the wrong, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, like you go into the spiritual community because there's a story maybe you want to tell people. You want people to make you aware of where you're going. But in this community too, I've seen people come into this as a form of modeling or trying to make themselves look cool. Oh, look what I can do. This is, I'm cool now, because I'm part of this. And then outside of that, they go to clubs and go get fucked up and do other stupid crap and get themselves into trouble, and then, claim, oh, well, you know, I have my rocks, my moons, my stones, and I'm wearing a stone necklace. Look at me, I'm cool. That intention to me is just it's not real. I can't fathom the thought. That's why it just it 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 just it just makes me feel like is any of this like resonating to anybody at all? Like, am I the only one that's talking here? Like, I feel like I'm talking to walls at times, or I'm trying to ask mountains to move and they're not moving at all. You know, then I realize, at some point you start to realize it's this is their journey. Like, this is their journey. Like, if people are going to want to do that, let them do that. But if there's going to be teachers that are out there and they want to teach because they want to cash out on it and do their thing, let them do it. Just let them. You know, that's there's nothing you can do. But if your intention is to do something, to share your journey, your energy, your everything, because I feel like you have to go with the intention of one big vibration, bigger than anything in this world, and that's love. Love, love, love. You know, because love is all we need right now. The love of what we do, the love of everything, from doing this work that we do, from providing and helping not only yourself but everybody else into the community, and to make them aware that this is something more than that's bigger than all of us. You know, that's bigger than us. So I feel like, and your question was like, how does one do that? I think it comes into a place of where it's deeper than just saying that I'm going to do this because I want to be, you know, I want to be able to certify people, but with the intention of the biggest thing, and that's love, the love of what you do. And that's where it's most important. And if we can go to that place, and if everybody can go to that place, we wouldn't have to be in a place of where, you know, we have to make it as a living or make a living off of it. If I could do it for free, I'd do it for free, no problem. But it's the amount of energy that you're putting into this. And the more energy that you put into this, you have to just say, you know what, I have to get compensated for it by good means. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah, you know, I resonate with what you're saying. And putting ourselves, that's kind of been a dilemma that I've been having internally, of like, oh, should I make this into a business? Because and even thinking about it like that, or even speaking it out loud like that, it's just like, that's where my dilemma is, you know.
You have to believe in yourself, bro.
But look, but let me just finish my point. Is I haven't really promoted myself much. I don't really do it, you know. I just do this, you know. And but people continue to hit me up, and so at the beginning of this year, I was like, yo, I want to start doing sound baths again, and I'm open to receive, you know. And sure enough, it's happening. So I'm wanting to understand what that all looks like, you know. But I'm at this point, I'm gonna have to jump off of this call because I'm driving. So I will just thank you, and I'll speak with everyone here later. Thank you,
Thank
Tia.
you, Josue.
No
Thank you
sweat.
for
Take
joining
care,
us.
bud.
It's been great.
Take care, my friend.
Bye.
Later.
Later.
Oh yeah, this has been a really great conversation. It's I think the point, like I think I've said this already, but the point of the medicine house is to do exactly that, to connect each other to each other, and use each other's resources to do more of this. And I've had this vision in my head for a very long time now. Like I work from home, so I have it like right above my workplace, so I can look at it every day and be like, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. And in the vision, I like wake up and I go into my beautiful smelly good garden, and I sit there and I do sadhana, and I sing, and I'm just like waking up with the birds and the trees and going Satnam, whatever it is that I'm singing
Yeah.
that day. And then I wake up, and then we get to eat something good from the garden, because it's like we're feeding ourselves. Like I want to sing to the food so that it can sing to me. And then
Right.
I want to go in my house and be like, whatever I'm working on, it feels good. It's something creative. Like I love photography. I do a lot of nature-based photography. And so I'm like, photography, graphic design, videos maybe. I don't know, something that's entertaining to me. And then
Right.
towards the evening, we go back out into the garden and start making dinner, and then we have a feast and people come over, and then we have a whole like musical evening every single night. It's like we're fairies, like where we're just, you know, we work during the day and then we all come together at night and we just do like music or dancing or singing, anything just to get like the energy from the day out, and then we can peacefully sleep, and then we do the same thing the next day. I don't know, that's my vision of like, for me, the perfect life, where we're on this community. It could be a little like, I just want land where I can have a garden and people come over and we eat and we feast and we party like fairies. That's my dream goal.
Well, it can very much happen, and that's something that I just, as I mentioned, you have to believe.
Yeah.
You have to believe that you can do it. You have to wake up every day and tell yourself, I believe.
Yeah.
And
It's on my vision board. I'm like, I see you. It's happening.
yeah,
It's
and
gonna happen.
the more you manifest it, the more people will show up, the more
Mhm.
people will get involved with the community, the more things will happen. You just have
Yeah.
to continue to believe and do your work. Um,
Yeah.
there's a saying in Kundalini yoga teacher training that Dr. Kalsa would say every single day. And it would drive me crazy because it was just like, I don't want to keep up anymore. But he said, keep up, or you will be kept up. And that's the key thing that what I was told from Dr. Kalsa, but also from the teaching within itself is, during the Kundalini teacher training that my wife and I and the group of other people had received. um, we're continuing to keep up, and we've seen some of our peers in that group have not kept up, have went back to their old ways, or no one communicates with each other anymore, and then sadly that's just the way it is. And we lost community after that. So we invited some of these people to our wedding, and they didn't show up because, one, they didn't believe about, they were just kind of adamant about, like, oh, I don't want to get the COVID shot because it's gonna hurt me, or I don't want to get tested because they do brain scrapings and some other stuff. And I was, kind of disappointed because I got the COVID vax, after the COVID, or during the pandemic, as soon as it came out. Not because I was afraid of catching anything. I got it, well, one, because it was required by our wedding, to the place that we got married at, that everybody had to get vaccinated. But also two, because my parents, um, they have their issues, and not that they had forced me to do it or do anything, because I even came to a point where I'm just like, I don't even think I'm gonna get it. I don't even want to get it. And my wife and I were saying we're not going to get it, but she had to get it because of work, and she was required to get the vaccine because she had to go into work. And so I got the vaccine because, well, just be not I at the time that I was working in an actual office. um but they closed it down, but eventually they were going to reopen it, but they were requiring that we all get vaccinated. And so I had to get it for that reason. And then the wedding, and then my parents, because they have their medical issues or their health issues, that I didn't want it. If I caught it, I didn't want it to be too severe or anything like that. But anyway, um, we invited people. We told them the requirements, and they were like, "No, we're not going to go. Because we don't believe in that." And it's not a thing of belief. It's a thing of where, and it's even been taught by Kundalini yoga. Like, if you're so powerful enough to endure the things that you have gone through, I mean, what harm is it that you get a vaccine, or if not, get tested for, to see if you even have COVID? And brain scraping, I've never heard of it. I've taken I've taken the test several times, and uh, they didn't go as far as up to my brain. I think if you went
If
that
you
far,
stick it up far enough, you'll get a little scream here and
well, I mean, it's just like, it's kind of ridiculous. But it was just, I didn't want to, I don't want to be rude by saying anything, but I just felt like it was dumb, and I was like, well, okay, well, that's your decision. I respect it, and never heard back from them since then. So that was that. Um, Not because that we had any differences or anything like that, but it just, I don't know if they thought that we felt that it was weird, or we felt that they were weird, or vice versa, or whatever. But to each their own. I mean, whatever. If you believe that you're gonna get brain scraping, then so be it. It is what it is. Um, but it was crazy. It was super duper crazy. My wife and I were just sitting there, like, kind of like, there's no harm. And then we had one other girl who said that she would provide us some sort of charts, some sort of like uh some chart that she had gotten from her, some sort of like pulsing therapy that she was doing. And she was told, where her charts are at. It didn't really specify anything as far as, like, her having COVID or not. And we were like, well, does it say that you have COVID or you don't? Or, I mean, what's the use of this if we're going to present this over to the actual place? Because they're requiring that you either get tested or that you get vaccinated. And sure enough, nothing. So I was like, oh my God, this is not working. So she ended up having to leave out, and she was part of the bride. She was part of the bridesmaids. And yeah, she bailed, and we were kind of disappointed in that. And she just basically disappeared from us too, as a friend. We thought, we were good friends, and she disappeared. I don't know. I mean, she ghosted my wife and everything, and I was like, wow, that's kind of sad. That's really sad. Um,
Yeah,
but
people still have that cancel, what we were talking about earlier, the cancel culture.
cancel
If you
culture,
don't agree with me, I don't want to be your friend. So that happened a lot with COVID, where, oh,
it did.
yeah,
It
yeah,
did. It
disagree.
ruined a lot of things. And it's sad that we are living in the stage right now where we are being completely segregated and separated from people. I mean, I had to separate myself from people because they were not in the same vibration as I was. And sadly enough, it's not a thing of where I hate you and I don't think you're this. It's more along the lines of, like, you know what, I will love you from afar, and that's it. That's all I can do. I don't have any bad intentions for anybody. I don't wish anything on anybody at all. I'm just the person that ultimately just wants the best for everyone, regardless of who and what you are and what you have done. Hopefully whatever bad that comes out can turn into some sort of good out of everything. And that can change at some point, or whatever. So, but as is life, it goes. And there's not much you can do. So, I'm, just doing what I can here. But I'm glad that you're doing this, and I'm very happy that you're doing this thing, where you're trying to bring all the healers together. And as I mentioned before, this is something that I have even thought about on many occasions, but it's just being able to have that time and effort to doing it. It's not happening on my end. Um, but then when you shared my post, and I was like, oh wow. And I was like, oh shoot, I forgot to delete this because I canceled it because it was bad timing. And on top of that, some of the events at the awareness center had been very low. The attendance have been very low, so it would have been a better idea if I had gotten that flyer to her 2 weeks before. But I tried. I really, really
Right.
tried.
It
I
happened.
really, really tried, and I couldn't get it to her. But so I think the other problem too is that she's overwhelmed with a lot of things, especially with family life. Um, I was thinking about maybe having my wife reach out to her and saying, "Hey, do you need help with advertisements for the awareness center? Because The advertisements as of now haven't been that great. I haven't seen a lot from them
Who
other
is
than
it
like
doing it now?
um so her name is Diana Novello.
Okay, Diana.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, the Sat Darshan. I was doing it before, but then as soon as my wife got pregnant,
You had to.
um that kind of turned things around real quick.
Yeah.
So then I just said, okay, well, I'm gonna have to leave the group and you can take care of the promoting and everything else. So she's doing the promoting and organizing the events and doing everything else. And on top of that, she works full time. And then she has family things going on right now.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts her in a really, 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 really tough situation where she doesn't have time to do all of that. And I'm beginning to think maybe she needs help with that.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm thinking about maybe having my wife reach out to her to see if she needs help.
Yeah. I used
Um,
to help Kate when she was in charge of it. So like
oh
that
yeah,
really helps. Yeah. When she was doing
yeah,
a lot of it, I would make the little graphics and just try to organize everything so that just goes on social media. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like we did a lot of changes after Kate left.
Mm-hmm.
We changed the logo because it just looked boring to a degree. It just didn't look appeasing or just like, it didn't look like it was striking anything.
Yeah.
It was just eh. So we changed that. We
I saw the
changed.
website's been updated too.
Yeah, the website's been updated too as well. We updated a few things there. Um, I was eventually I was thinking about teaching there again. I was teaching there during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very low attendance, like
Yeah.
extremely low attendance, like one person, two people, maybe the most that I have is maybe like five people, which is great. I was like, yeah, cool. But I wasn't even asking to get paid for it. I was just like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't even care. You guys can keep the money because you guys are losing money at the moment. So that was that. And
That's what I
then,
did when I was doing the mantra circles. I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Like,
yeah,
yeah, just
yeah.
take it. It's all good.
Yeah, I think at some point they were trying to build up something else too, and then that didn't work. Um, they essentially they made it into a nonprofit organization is what they ended up doing, and then they the building was up for sale, so they sold it to the guy who owns Alley Heart Center or something like that, um, which is it's cool. It's very cool. They have events like every month. It's also a nonprofit organization. I don't know how they are doing financially. I don't know if they're struggling at all. I don't know. All I know is that the new owner of the building, and his name is Howie, and he does well financially apparently because he can afford the rent. The rent's expensive. It's
Yeah,
very expensive. Oh my gosh. I was like, whoa,
yeah,
Dr. Consul, I don't even know you're hanging on by a thread pretty much. And he was like, yeah, pretty much. And he was like, I don't even know how long I can keep up with this. And I tried having my friend maybe look into maybe, purchasing it, maybe getting some sort of endorsement from a friend who can, lease the place out for her. And once she had the first meeting with Dr. Calcer, she was like, whoa, that was a lot.
yeah,
And I was like, yeah, it is a lot. I told you, you didn't have to do it. And she was like, well, yeah, I'll think about it. This is a lot to process. And I was like, okay, well, you let me know. And then, never heard back from her. So that
yeah.
was that.
I remember
Um,
when they first started discussing like the building changes, and I was like,
yeah,
Kate was like, maybe you can take over it by it. And I was like, I don't know. I know the rents are like we're already struggling.
expensive.
I
Yeah, it's
don't
expensive.
know.
It's
And I
it's
was
in
closer
like
then.
it's in the five. It's like in the 5 to 6 thousand a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like something you have to be financially like, you have to be very, very stable financially. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how long the LA Heart Center is going to be able to hold on to this place, because their events are very low. The and the awareness center, the classes, I don't know if they're low as far as like having people to come over. But as of now, I've heard from Diane that it's kind of steady. They're trying to open up to have like maybe more teachers to teach during the day. But it's hard because nobody wants to do it.
I also know
Um,
that it depends on who shows up, who if anybody shows up too, like the class size and
yeah,
space, like it's a lot to
I think
consider.
that was the issue with me. It was just like I was not getting anybody to show up, so it was just like I don't want to do this anymore. Before I got married, I told Dr. Colsa that I'm just gonna not teach anymore.
Hmm.
And then he was like, I get it and I understand. I go, yeah, because just doesn't make any sense. So, and then for a while, when I moved to the Valley, I was just teaching. I was doing what's it called? Um, Online classes for 3 people that I used to teach at the old studio that I used to teach at in Whittier, and that was not working very well for me because it was not financially good, and it didn't make any sense because either one of them would not show up, and then I had them buy like a package um to fit for their needs, and then uh it first started out with just 2 people, and then it was like 3 people, and then all of a sudden just down to one person like that would come into class.
Yeah.
And at some point I was just like, I'm gonna have to let this go at some point. And my wife was like, why don't you just go back to teaching at a studio, because this is just ridiculous. And so that's what I did. The studio in Woodland Hills, they just opened up the yoga studio, and I submitted my resume, I submitted a video, the whole bit, and then they had me teach a class there, and they were just like, wow, that was amazing, and blah blah blah, when can you start?
Hmm.
So I
Right.
started right away. Yeah, started right away. I was like, shoot, I'll do it this day. And so I started teaching, and it was it was interesting enough to see how it started, because it was just one person would show up, two, and that's how normally it starts, right? So they don't know you as a teacher, so they're like, who is this person? One person, 2 person, 3 people, then just one. No, nobody would show up.
Mm-mm.
And then all of a sudden 6 people, 7 people, 8 people, and then it would go on to up to like 18 people at one point, which
Wow.
was really cool. You know so but I'm just glad I was able to build a community out of that, and sustain and an amount of people to show up to my classes,
Yeah.
although it's hard. I couldn't imagine doing this full time though. As far as
Yeah.
like being a yoga teacher, you'd have to own a studio, and that's my goal, is to at some point own a studio, but turn it into a wellness center, and that way I can do my sound baths. I can have other people do
Yeah.
events there, and do the whole bit of where people want to do Reiki there. They can rent out the space for whatever events that they want to do, and I just cut them a break and pay them. Have them pay whatever amount,
Yeah.
and then charge them for cleaning or whatever, um, or have them pay for a deposit or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but essentially, that's one of my biggest goals, is to open up my own wellness center, to do yoga, to do sound baths, to do Reiki, to do like readings, tarot readings. I don't do tarot. My wife, I don't think she does tarot. No, she doesn't do tarot. She, and then my wife's mom, she's a she's special. She has a gift. Um, I would say maybe like sort of therapy, one-on-one, like spiritual therapy is what I would call it. Um, and I can have her do something like that there. And then my wife or my wife could just do all the Reiki, and I can do some of the Reiki too. But I don't know. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll
So
come the more you keep doing what you're doing, Just keep going. And I feel like that's what's happening for me too. It's like I started this one day and I wasn't expecting much, and now we have over 45 members, which I'm like, cool. The door's been open, people are coming in, and whatever happens next happens. It's like
yeah,
doing the magic, doing the work. Like I was prepared to sit here for like 2 hours just talking to myself like that. I was like, you know what? The space is here. It's open. If somebody decides to join, It's great. So yeah,
yeah, exactly,
it works out.
exactly.
But I wanted to
Yeah.
say it is time. It is 12
Okay.
o'clock already. It's been
Yeah.
great talking to you and getting to know you. I definitely want to, I'll reach out to you a little later to talk about, the possibilities of, that house or the awareness center for our private gatherings in the seasonal times. So
Sure.
I'll reach out more for you for that, and then also to talk more about Kundalini. I love it. Like I need more of it in my life, and definitely want to work on some mantras and music. I don't know if you're interested in that, but I've always dreamed about that, and I would love to figure out how that might can work and sharing music like that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I can have my wife get involved in this because she's a great singer. So
Yes. That'd be
she's a
awesome.
great singer. So definitely.
Cool. You guys aren't too far. You're
Okay.
right up the street, kind of. Not too
Yeah, no,
far.
I was gonna say if you wanted to meet up, at some point, and discuss further, and I can have my wife come in with our little guy, and
Yeah, I
you
can
can
bring
bring
my family. That would be
yeah, you can
fun
bring
to
your
have a whole
family.
family meet up, like my husband
Yeah,
and my
totally.
3-year-old. Yeah, that'd be
That would
cool.
be totally cool. That would be totally cool. We wanted to have some sort of community like that here, but yeah. I don't want to be rude or anything, but some of the people here are extremely weird.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a strange group of people, but I guess it's just within this vicinity. But I mean, I don't know. I've been kind of I've always been kind of to myself too at the same time too. But when I talk, I talk. I can talk for hours. So, but
That's good. That's a good
but
thing.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But yeah, definitely. Let's keep in touch. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the house. We'll talk about the awareness center where we can have events there for ourselves. We can rent out the space or maybe not. Depends.
Yeah, of course.
We would just have to do our own promoting, but not through them. We would just have to do it on our own, and then just go from there.
Sweet. Sounds good. Well, thank you,
Okay.
Emma. It's been really a pleasure talking to you. And
Likewise.
you did join the group already, right? The collective. I think you did. What's
Beliefs.
that? I'm pretty sure you
So no, not the WhatsApp. I haven't joined that yet, but I'm gonna do that right now.
Please do, so you can get connected with everybody and share, yourself there, and yeah, that's what we're here for. Yeah.
Okay.
Invite your
All
wife.
right.
She's a singer. Like I feel like that's medicine music. Like that's what I do.
Oh
So
my God. You have to listen to her listen to her singing. She's just beautiful.
well, I'm
She has a
excited.
beautiful voice. Yeah.
Yeah. I have song circles every month, and also practice song circles online where we're just singing songs and just coming up with like our own songs. I do a lot of alchemy of the voice, so it's for me it's a lot of voice work, and using that as a sound instrument and sound healing. So I would love to meet her and see singing, more singing, always more singing. So Yeah.
Oh, I mean, she loves to sing, so she sings to our little guy. So
Nice.
cute. Yeah.
The kids bring out that creative energy because when we first had ours, me and my husband, we came up with this whole album of songs for her as she grew over time, and we called it the Moon and Stars of the Sea because that's what her name means, Selena Maria. So
Oh,
we the album that we're working on still, it's 3 years in, but it's called The Moon and the Stars of the Sea because it's about her and the songs we came up with while raising her. And sometimes she sings them now. She sings her own things. Like it's so cute. She'll be walking around.
oh.
Please, I have cereal, and I'm like, okay, I see you, Miss Musician. They're the cutest. I love them. I love
Yeah.
them. But yeah.
Oh,
Oh, we also have a huge group of parents. Like, there's so many parents in this group. It's amazing. Like, Vera, she lives up the street and she has a kid, and then her sister-in-law, they live right beside each other. She has 2 kids, and so we're thinking like sound bath and kids, and then somebody's already doing that in the group. I think it was Monica. She does kid sound baths where they can do yoga at the same time and play around while she's doing the bowls. It's amazing. So there's a lot of space for families in this collective. There's nothing but families. I feel like if it's not family friendly, I feel like it's not for me because it's like my main focus is family, and
yeah.
it needs to be accessible to everybody, kids and young, and then elders, everybody.
Yes. Yes. I believe that too.
Yeah, we even got Kirsten doing sound baths for farm animals. It's so cute.
Oh,
Yeah. There's so
that's
many
awesome.
people. Yeah, they do like everybody's doing amazing things in their own way, and it's like, wow, we need this stuff, and it's great seeing it and being and knowing about it, even knowing that it exists and the people who are doing it. So it's awesome. But yeah.
That's cool. That's super cool. Awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
thank
Awesome.
you for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and end this call, but I'm gonna reach out to you later, probably
Okay.
by Monday at least. But yeah, have a
Okay.
wonderful weekend.
You as well. You as well. All
Talk to
right,
you
Tia.
soon.
Take care.
You too. Bye.